And the seagulls follow the troll. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
Nobody cares, mate.
Nobody cares, mate. Nobody fucking cares, mate, honestly.
And the guy's talking absolute nonsense. Never heard so much rubbish in my life.
Normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
I'm telling you, don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's a Thursday night and I'm on in the driving seat tonight, so don't be confused. No, it's not Friday. I know I usually do the time traveling show and I haven't travelled from tomorrow night back to Thursday here in the driving seat for the evening. It is definitely Thursday as a T.N.F. Welcome aboard, folks, because tonight we are to talk about obviously what's going on in the world of Celtic. Russell's taking the wee night off and he's asked me to stand in, and it's all about your comments tonight. So of course we'll be looking to you guys to get heavily involved and get in all the hot topics for us to discuss, because you can see, guys, we're joined by the usual on a Thursday night. We've got the Judge Kearney, the regular fixture now. How you doing, Judge?
I'm doing very well, mate. We just recorded the Judgment Day there before the show started. It's always a joy to watch me try to read the screen. It's a fucking nightmare. My eyes are painted on, so you get a wee bit of a laugh the more I'm watching that. Good show. Couple of wee good questions for the viewers, and I'm looking forward to getting it tomorrow and hear what you guys think again. Nice one.
And David Logue with your new setup. It's actually off camera just now, but David's got a nice big fancy new microphone as well. New setup going on there. He's taking this really seriously.
Oh yes,
he's a professional podcaster now.
That's it. I'll get a new nickname for me now.
Oh yeah.
At least it's working.
Yeah,
true. I was worried about testing out on a Thursday. I thought that was quite brave of me, to be fair. But here we go.
David, you're on mute. Can't hear you.
There has to be something goes wrong with David on a Thursday night, but no. So far, David, everything's going smoothly. So it's going well so far. How are you feeling anyway tonight, David? Glad to be on.
Aye, always good to be on. I'm looking forward to watching Judgment Day. I'm glad to hear that we've got an episode 2 of that coming out. I'll be watching that and looking out for anything I can take for the return ticket for Sunday. So because there's always something the judges got.
The main take is buy glasses, mate. I'm sitting trying to read the screen and oh god. But anyway, it's always good to do it. Quite enjoyed it. Thanks, David.
I'm looking forward to it, mate.
Looking forward to seeing it myself as well. Thoroughly enjoyed the first episode of Judgment Day, so that should be good fun. But yeah, of course, in the theme of Judgment Day, obviously it's all about viewer questions and viewer points. So as I say, tonight it's the first night forum, so at some point tonight we shall be handing it over to you guys in the chat. So make sure you get involved, and while you're at it, what you can do for us as well is you can obviously hit the subscribe button, you can hit the like button, and of course you can share the link of the Boise Bus on any social media platform that you wish to spread the word, improve the algorithm, helps the channel out massively, and that's why it's all that good stuff. And our very own Russell Boyce is in the chat tonight, keeping, being the sheriff in the chat, making sure nobody steps out of line or anything. But usually, you're always on your best behaviour till that Bob McBob turns up or that Blue Baron. Then things start to kick off. But anyway, Russell's in the chat. He'll be keeping us right anyway. But yeah, we shall get into it, guys, before we hand it over to the viewers for any hot topics. Obviously, last night, there was a game. Celtic played St Mirren. A comprehensive victory in the end maintains that 9-point gap at the top of the table. Obviously, last night, Russell, Terry, and Steve were on doing PMP, but ourselves, we've not gave our opinion yet on it. Mark, you were at the game just like myself. Overall, my take from it was it's another job done. It's a comfortable victory. Some good goals scored on the night. David Turnbull and Kyogo's first one in particular. Same old VAR frustrations coming up again, where it's not so much the decisions that they're coming to, it's the length of fucking time they take to make said decisions that is the problem. But yeah, overall, yep, an absolutely fine performance, and 3 more points on the board, and we just keep the second place team, those pesky Rangers at arm's length. Just you just stay back, you just keep your distance just now, guys. But what was your take from it last night, Mark?
I'm still trying to thaw out. It was fucking freezing last night. I mean, that was why they called this. I think I was at Berwick a few years ago. I mean, I was outstandingly cold, but that was really cold last night. But 3 points, mate. I thought the first, maybe, I know we scored within the first 20 minutes or so, but I thought it was a bit shaky. I think St Mirren came out, and I love the fact that St Mirren came out and wanted to play football. But Celtic just matched them. Once Celtic got into a rhythm, it was only going to be one winner. I thought Kyogo was more in the game than he has been recently. I thought Kobayashi at the back, fantastic debut, and the good thing for me is he's only going to get better. Alistair Johnson, God, I mean, I've always played about 4 games for Celtic. Looks like 104. What a player he's turned into be. What a signing he's been. O'Reilly was poor again last night. I don't know if there's something in the back of that guy's head, but we'll probably get into that. 3 points, 4 goals, a goal for Turnbull. I left with 10 minutes to go. I was just too cold, mate. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm about 3 stone, so I'm no built for the cold weather. So I had to hop into a select shop to get a wee bit of heat, and I missed the 4th goal. But I seen it on the highlights. Fantastic goal. I've seen a lot online about his celebration. Listen,
never celebrates.
I said it was a 4th goal in a match against St Mirren on a Wednesday night, and do you know what? If he went mental, there'd be folks slagging him for that as well. So I wouldn't read too much into it. The guy's just finding his fitness. He's finding his feet still in a Celtic jersey. It's 2.5 years, but he's still trying to find his feet. How long he's going to be at Celtic is another issue, but I wouldn't read into that anything. I thought last night's performance was 3 points, 4 goals, 9 points clear, and we kept the zombies at arm's length. What else do you want?
We did indeed. It was, I'd say, comprehensive in the end. And on the subject of the how cold it was, funny enough, it's not the coldest I've been at Celtic Park. I think it was another St Mirren game, though, many, many years ago under Strachan. I can remember a horrendous day, snow and whatnot. It was Baltic that day. But yeah, it was a bit of it did fall me out though in the end of the performance. It was a decent one to say, with the Turnbull goal and what you're saying about the celebration. I'm the same as you. I've said it to the boy who sits next to me for a long time. Turnbull never seems to celebrate ever. He'll score absolute raspers of goals. Remember last year he bagged a hat trick against St Mirren in a game quite early in the season and didn't really celebrate at all. It's like, you just have to have the hat trick. And obviously he scored against Rangers early in the season. And it's like, I know John McLaughlin passed it right to him, but if I was a Celtic fan, I scored against Rangers, 4th goal, 1st goal, 5th goal, go fucking mad.
I would still be running naked, and I've been in Alabama just now. I've been just reaching Alabama naked. I wouldn't stop until I ran out of legs.
Aye, he just doesn't seem to be that bothered when he celebrates, so he just kind of brushes off. By last night, great goal by the man. But David, what was your take on the game from what you saw of it?
I didn't manage to see the first half, but from what I've seen in the second half, a comfortable victory. Like you said, job done. And we move on. David Turnbull appears to be the Celtics equivalent of Mario Balotelli. He just needs the "why always me" t-shirt underneath you on the next celebration.
Yeah.
On David Turnbull, he's just he's like the expression, like he's a tidy little hand. You know, it's just good to have there, always to like say we're 3-0 up, bring him on, finish the game off, and you're not surprised if he puts a goal away, but he done. So, is he a first team player anymore? First 11 player anymore for Ange? Probably not, but you're not going to raise an eyebrow when if you're seeing him coming on. To be fair, and I think it's a tidy performance and a very good goal. Just a little reminder that he's still kicking about the squad and maybe not to be ruling him out just yet.
Because the first half of last season, when Ange came in and we had all sorts of injury problems in the first half, Turnbull was one of the consistent performers that was playing every game. It was actually the cup final he got injured in, and ever since then he's been struggling to get back in. But obviously we've added reinforcements since then. But if he's always capable to come in and give a half-decent performance and score a goal like that, then it's a strong squad player to have. But yeah, regarding the celebration stuff, don't read too much into it. He's not off to West Ham, despite those never-ending rumours on Twitter that seem to be around for the last 2 years. It's like
I know West Ham is some mess, Phil. I know West Ham is some mess, but I wouldn't wish the tornado on him. He'd just spin round in circles for 2 months down there. They would get rid of him. He'd go on loan to Luton Town for a season. I know that it was short of the manager. My big mate, Paul, I speak to every day. He's a West Ham fan. He says it. I think the players are chucked under Moyes, so it looks like he's going to be getting sacked soon. And I did see the papers today. I don't know who it was. I saw a headline saying if they think Ange should take a job. I'm not saying that's even going to get offered to him, but that makes me shudder to think anybody offering Ange a job just now, to be honest with you. As far as I'm concerned, he's here for a long time, but you never know.
I think a fire's been lit under him at the moment with what's going on over the other side of the city and all of the gusto and bravado that's been thrown out of there. But let's move on, guys, and talk about, because I'll say last night PMP happened, the boys have said their piece on the game. There isn't much more for us to really add. So yeah, of course, tonight's a T.N.F. It's all about viewer comments and viewer questions. So yeah, get them in throughout the show. We'll go to them just now. And also contrary to something that was said last week on the show, no, you don't need to be a member. You don't have to have a star next to your name to get a comment to come up. Just get questions in. If we happen to grab it and bring it up on the screen, we'll talk about it. And obviously we'll start here with John Hutchison, who, of course, this is very, very topical and it's something we were going to get to at some point tonight. It's a $6 million question right now. Is Gigi Offski? Now, personally, from my point of view, I don't know what's going on anymore, because on one hand, all the media and all the newspapers, Sky Sports, all these different outlets are saying that Celtic have accepted a bid and he's about to fly out for a medical. In some cases, even at the weekend there, they were saying he was off to Japan for his medical, yet still ended up on the bench at Hampden and came off the bench and scored. So that's quite a talent. He was able to go to Japan and be at Hampden at the same time. Last night, obviously, we went to the Mirren game and he wasn't in the squad at all. Naturally, everyone was saying, well, that must be it. He must be Offski now, because the talk is that it's Urawa Red Diamonds from Japan seem to be the front runners. But now, after the game, Ange Postecoglou said that no, Giakoumakis just pulled up with an injury. He was actually at the stadium last night because there's fans that got selfies with him and so forth, so he was there. And I said the other day we had a Postecoglou press conference on Tuesday where again he was put on the spot about the players in and out situation, and he said nobody's leaving at this moment in time. And then again, the media are still saying that no, he's heading off. So I don't really know what's going on. I don't know who to believe anymore. And as I always say, I always like to use the Shaun of the Dead meme of just head down to the Winchester for a pint and wait for it all to blow over, because that's how I feel when it comes to Celtic transfer window now, where I'm just like, I don't know. So Mark, what's your feeling right now on what exactly is going on? Because there's so many mixed messages. Who's telling the truth?
Well, there's always three sides to the truth, mate. Your side, my side, and the truth, you know what I mean? And I think, see, when a bid's accepted by the club, it doesn't mean the player's actually going to go. It just means that a club's met the valuation that Celtic are happy with. Maybe that's happened. I kind of get the impression that's happened because there was reports in Japan that the bid had been accepted and this side of the water. So I think your press has got a bad reputation for a reason. They talk a lot of shite, but the Japanese press seem to be spot on. I think the bid's been accepted, and Giakoumakis has said, no, that's not for me. But maybe I've got another side to it that I've maybe not spoke about. Maybe the club's been clever here. Maybe Giakoumakis is haggling for more money. He wants to stay. He's threatened to leave. and Celtic have put it out there that the bids will be accepted if they're in excess. Now that's just a bit of bartering on each side to see who can meet in the middle. I heard the player's agent was back in Glasgow just last week there, so he didn't come here for nothing. I think when a player's agent flies into Glasgow in the middle of winter, he's not coming there for the weather, mate. He's coming here to do business. So I don't know your thoughts, David, but I think when you see these sort of stories, mate, there must be at least truth in it somewhere.
What's the saying? There's no smoke without fire, isn't there? So
yeah,
I kind of subscribe to what you're saying there, Mark. That almost as if Celtic have called Giakoumakis' bluff and went, all right, okay, well, here's your options. You can go to Japan, and where where we've been saying all these boys that you can't seem to get ahead of, or you can accept the contract terms that we've given you, because it's either that or you go to Atlanta, or whatever it is else that he's been linked with. I think you're right. I think a bid obviously probably has been accepted of the valuation of what the club are willing to accept from Giakoumakis. But I don't obviously we're not privy to what kind of wages go about in Japan, but I can't see them offering mega money for Giakoumakis. So maybe it's a case of just take it or leave it, or these are the terms that we're willing to offer you for you to stay. I'm starting to slowly think he is going to stay. I think it could be a case of, well, you're at least here to the summer, because if the offers on the table from Japan or wherever aren't suitable, there's no real reason to sell him. We need a striker. I'm still under the thoughts that we need a third striker. Never mind two strikers.
Definitely.
I'd like to think. I mean, Ange has always said that I'm not going to try and convince somebody to stay. If he wants to leave, we'll let him leave, and I think that's been the case. Oh, if you want to leave, there's the door. But if you decide to stay, then I'll happily welcome you back in open arms. I mean, if Andrew's so keen for him to leave, I don't think we'd be seeing him scoring a winning goal against Kilmarnock in the cup. And I know, like you say, he wasn't even in the squad last night, but he was at the stadium. I don't think he's as close to the exit door as we might think.
Well, I think the perception of Ange and how he treats players is totally different to what the reality is. I mean, I'll give you two prime examples. I mean, Edouard and Christie played at Ibrox. So much was it a bad idea that he played Kyogo on the left, and Kyogo was just marked at the game. I mean, when Edouard came off and Kyogo came through the middle, the game just changed in Celtic's favour. We couldn't get the equaliser, but we all know, even as early as that, in Ange's stint at Celtic, he could have got a point at Ibrox that day, or even won it if he played a different team. And we all knew. I think Christie left the following morning, and Edouard left the same week. Everybody knew that was going to be the last game for Celtic, and I know for a fact, especially given the body language of the two players, it was going to be the last game for Celtic.
Yep.
So the club would have known they two were away. So I don't think it's out with the realms of possibility for players to be in the departure lounge but still getting game time. I think Juranovic falls into that category. I think I spoke about it on the Judgment Days, but I think we're not going to stunt the progress of Arthur Johnson by putting Juranovic back into the right back position. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. Unless
there's something more sinister with Greg Taylor's injury that's going to keep Greg Taylor out for the rest of the season or off for long term, I don't see any other reason than to sell Juranovic as soon as possible, because he's going to be. I mean, we're not going to labour the point, but it's clear that Ange doesn't trust Bernabei. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe that's the issue, mate. The Giakoumakis thing, David's absolutely right. There's no smoke with fire. I'm just hoping that this has been a case of, I'll call you a bluff, you call my bluff. We've saw it before. I mean, sometimes these things don't play out in front of the cameras. Sometimes they happen behind the scenes. But this one's just had to be made public. I think it's been Giakoumakis' agent made a few phone calls. And I also think Celtic are clever with the press. They can discredit a player like that. One phone call to the right press, and then before you know it, it's out in the papers that somebody's not training well, somebody's got a heat down their eye and moves to England, and the fan base quickly see every bad pass and every lazy motion as evidence guys looking elsewhere.
I don't know if you saw what I put in the group chat last night, but I started watching a documentary that's on Sky that focuses around the summer transfer window. And it just happened to be that summer transfer window there, and it's following the likes of that Tatanga. He was at Spurs. We were actually being linked with. And a couple of, I think I didn't end up finishing the show because it started quite late, but it looks at Haaland and it looks at a couple of Fabian that moved to, I think he moved to PSG, but it's all focuses around their moves, but it mainly focuses around the agents and how it all works and how the dealings work. And the very first scene is, I don't know if I pronounce his name right, Tatanga's sitting in his living room, and he's a Spurs boyhood fan, and through the whole academy, and the agent sitting there saying, "Don't let the love of your club, skew your move here. We could get you to Italy." And obviously, I don't know what kind of person this agent is, but he's looking out for his client, but he knows for the fact if I get this boy to Italy for Inter Milan or AC Milan or whoever is interested in him, I get a good chunk of change out of the move. So you've always got to take into consideration that.
Well, they don't get paid unless they're active. I mean,
Marcus' agent could be saying, "Look, let's get you a move to in Japan."
That's how they get paid, David. I'm saying that there'll be a retainer involved that they'll be getting paid like, I don't know, a monthly fee. I don't know how exactly it works, but there will be a retainer. His actual earnings will come through signings, renegotiating contracts. Now, if you can negotiate a multi-million-pound move, to me and you, it'd be a lot of money, but it could be something like $100,000 to this agent. He might have 5 or 6 of these deals lined up in summer or a winter. You know what I mean? And fuck, that's good money if you can make it. And if that's the kind of money you can make by persuading a guy to move somewhere that he's probably 50-50 about doing it, then they're going to do it. They're not just agents. They're basically they're shrewd businessmen. You know what I mean? They'll do what's best for the client only if the client's best interest matches theirs. It's as simple as that.
Well, David, I'll come at you in this point here with John Duncan just following up to the Giakoumakis speculation scheme. We're not privy to what's going on. Giakoumakis might very well still be here on the 31st of January. Deep down, I think a lot of us are hoping for that. But yeah, obviously, if he did go, there's that key word there, upgrade. Because he says we'd have to spend a lot of money to upgrade on GG. I don't think in the January window Celtic are going to lay out a lot of money. You won't see like a 6 million signing like we saw in the summer with Jota and Carter Vickers. But of course, the word being upgrade. So if in some hypothetical situation Celtic did upgrade on Giakoumakis, then that puts Ange in a position where, well, if you put in a striker that's better than Giakoumakis, then you could push Kyogo at the team, because there seems to be Kyogo's the man. He's scored all the goals now. Giakoumakis be pushed firmly to the side. If we were to bring in somebody to replace Giakoumakis if he does go, what level would you be expecting it to be? Do you think we would settle for a Kevin Nisbet level player? Because I know his name's been branded about. I don't think the club are interested in him. I know a lot of fans have pushed it. But would you think that'd be the type of level of player they would bring in to replace him? Somebody who's quite happy to just sit behind Kyogo on the bench, or somebody who might have a bit of desire to know, I might be number one around here?
I said I don't want them. I wouldn't like to think that they're looking for a player that's going to happily sit on a bench, because then we've got boys in the youth team that could just do that for us. Or you're quite happy just sitting on the bench and coming on for 10 minutes, but hopefully we won't really need you to do much because Kyogo's already banged in 4 goals and Jota's scored an overhead kick somewhere. Like, no, I don't. It's a good question. We would have to spend I don't know, have to spend a lot of money to get an upgrade on Giakoumakis in terms of his goal to game ratio is per minute ratio is very good. There's no doubt about that. Can we get a player with a better touch of the ball and a bit better ball control, better maybe? But you look at, what Giakoumakis brings is goals. So yeah, it's such a difficult one. We're looking at players that, well, we thought we were going to at least be getting about, I thought 5 or 6 at the very minimum for Giakoumakis, and if we're willing to sell him for, say, what they saying, 2.5 to 3 million,
just over what we paid for him. Essentially, we break even and just a wee bit of profit.
Yeah, you are looking at a player. I think you would be looking at a player like Kevin Nisbet that's going to get you goals, but he's quite he's not going to be the guy that's going to displace Kyogo. I mean, I know they're looking at. There's not just Cho. There was that other Korean lad. I wrote his name down because it was a mouthful. His name is Oh Hyung Ji. His name has been getting battered around in the press the last few days as another, because we're looking at him as well as looking at Cho. I don't, from what the reports are saying, is we've not stopped looking at him. His goals. He's a bit young. I think he's like 21, 22-year-old. With the goals, good goals to game ratio, albeit in the Korean league. I don't know anything about the Korean league. I don't know the standard of football, what it's like. But it's, is that a player that's maybe I'll get you the goals that you're after, but you're not going to have to pay a massive fee for as well. It's the markets that we keep looking at. You keep saying we need to spend a lot of money to replace Giakoumakis, but if we're looking at players like in these leagues, maybe we won't need to spend a lot of money, because there seems to be plenty of gems out there that we're able to fish in these waters that are a lot cheaper than. Like you say, we go for Kevin Nisbet, they'll want 4 or 5 million because
that's my feeling on Hibs. I think they would want more off of Celtic. If an English Championship team came in, they would go, 1.5 million. But if Celtic come in, I think that Rod Petrie is still the chairman. I think he would want more off of Celtic. I've just got a feeling he doesn't like doing any business with us. He's shown in the past.
Oh, so. You're coming in to take his best player.
You're in the same division.
So of course he's going to be wanting, well, give us 4 or 5 million, and you can have him. But like you say, Wigan or a Blackburn or kind of a Championship side came in, they'd be like, you'd probably end up getting them for, like you said, 1.5 to 2 million at the tops. I think I said it on the Breakfast Bar. I'm going to clear up my words a little bit here. I was asked if I'd like to see, and I pretty much felt if I'd like to see Kevin Nisbet come in and replace Giakoumakis. I said no, but what I want to clear up is, would I like to? Kevin Nisbet in a Celtic shirt, absolutely fine. Like Scott House says, he probably would score for fun, but I just don't see him being the guy that's our number one striker, or even our number two striker ahead of a Giakoumakis. If Giakoumakis stays and say Kevin Nisbet came in as a third striker, I don't see him becoming our second choice striker. I'd still see it being Kyogo, Giakoumakis, and then Kevin Nisbet. I was right surprised to see he's only scored 7 goals this season so far. I actually thought it was a lot more than that.
It was injury though, wasn't it? There was an injury to him that kept him out for most season.
Right, I'm sure he was. Okay,
he got injured against us, I think, last season. I'm pretty sure it was against us it happened. He copped an injury and was out for quite a while. But since he's came back, he's obviously been banging in some goals again. But see, if you want me to give the two of you a name that will put some fear into you, I've seen it suggested in the chat earlier, and the comments scrolled away up now. I saw it getting discussed, but I think it was Scott maybe asked, what do you think of the proposition of Ajeti coming back from his loan fitter and sharper and becoming a feature again in the Celtic team? To say it's been discussed in the chat, I think most people are saying no. I think Ajeti's chance is gone. You just need to look at the one pre-season friendly outing that he got under Ange, where he just didn't look interested at all. It was the same game that Rocco Vata came on and took his chance and scored when we were playing the amateur team from Austria. But there was Ajeti came on. I'm pretty sure he missed a sitter in that game and all, and he just did not.
What league did he move to on loan?
He's in the Austrian league just now, playing for Sturm Graz, who were in the Europa League.
Albin Ajeti.
I'd
rather shite in my bed than lie in it and watch Albin Ajeti play for Celtic again. I mean, I was just waiting for David to finish up talking about Nisbet there. I mean, I'm going to be funny. I'd rather fucking Rab see Nisbet. I mean, seeing Les you get a player that's come into Celtic that's got a clear vision to be number one for Celtic. Don't buy him. Don't buy any player in the multiples of millions that hasn't got a vision that he's got to be first choice. If he's going to come in there and accept being third or second choice or play back part, I don't want him anywhere near Celtic. Celtic will never progress as a club by buying guys for Hibs unless they're extremely talented. We'll never progress as a club in the Champions League that we're all going about unless we shot in windows of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 million pound on the next level of opportunity for guys coming in for probably stronger leagues in Scotland. Until we start doing that, we won't progress. We'll get to a certain level, stagnate, go down, then do it all over again. So we can't get into Motherwells and Kilmarnock and Dundees and just hit and hope. Fling a dartboard, fling a dart on the board to see what lands.
There's a bit of a lazy link as well, isn't it, Mark? I remember when he signed.
It's a very lazy link. I
remember
David,
he signed for Hibs, Mark, and my pal, he said right away, because his father-in-law are Dunfermline fans, and obviously followed him there, and obviously he was known at Wraith Rovers just up the road for me. And as soon as he signed for Hibs, my pal, he went, Celtic will be linked to him in about 6 months. And
it's because he's a Hibs player, mate. Anybody that plays in Green's linked with Celtic. It's so lazy. It's like there's a Hearts player, they're always linked with Rangers, etc., etc. And it's like we're affiliated with Hibs. I'm going to get a couple of facts about Hibs for this affiliation with Hibs. See, in the 1950s, Hibs launched a campaign with the SFA to get Celtic disbarred from membership. They got to the stage where they had a vote to get Celtic flung out of the league because Celtic threw the tricolour above their stadium. This Irish club that Celtic fans think is an Edinburgh Celtic. This club, because we had a tricolour, these cunts tried to get us papped out of the league. They wanted, and the votes, it went to 11-2, I think it was, and Rangers was the saving vote to keep Celtic alive. Right?
That one before.
So see, that's a fact, mate. See Robert Kelly, the Celtic chairman at the time. He speaks about it quite a lot. He's passed away now. He was a very hard man. I mean, he didn't want to go to the World Club Championships when Celtic won the European Cup. He was refusing to go, and I think Jock's team talked him into it. Such was the first leg. They kicked our players off the park. Very stubborn man, and he fought the SFA from the minute he started at Celtic to the minute he left. So any idea Celtic fans have got linked with Hibs, just get out your fucking head. They try to get Celtic put out of business. They're not an Irish club. They're just another shower of clowns for Edinburgh. You know what I mean? No, there's anything with Edinburgh, but it's an establishment part of the world. It's a Tory part of Scotland. You know what I mean? And you keep your Tory beliefs for another club, and so it's just sorry because that link just annoys me. Sorry if I can.
Yeah, no, it does. I've seen it over the years.
Fact, mate, and I think some people probably don't know that fact, David. I mean, Phil, sorry, and I think I know you probably do. I mean, I think I know a lot of folk do, and I've surprised a few folk. And I've told them before. I read my dad in my book years ago, and there's a big chapter or two on it, and I read it all. And I was quite surprising the lengths they went to. I mean, they got to the stage where it actually reached the final stages of getting Celtic flung out of the league. I mean, for flinging a tricolour. That's supposed to be the Irish club. They actually went away to get another Irish club flung out of the league.
The Latin word for Ireland is Hibernia. So that's what
Hibernia Celtic were planning on using Glasgow Hibernia as a first name. That was that. And then I think it was... Then it went to Celtic, and it was decided it sounded too Irish, so they called it Celtic, so it sounded more Scottish. But we bit of history lesson there. But no, sorry, David. But I just think see guys like Aidan Nesbitt. I'm pretty sure they're going to have good careers, but Celtic have got to get away from it. There's no player in the SPFL tap to bottom that improves Celtic. I'm sorry,
and that's the key word, Mark, is improve. Improves the squad. I don't subscribe that there's many players if at all in the league either that really would improve the starting 11 at Celtic, and that's ultimately what the goal is.
To be fair, see, like the squad, I think Seagrass was an absolutely brilliant signing. I touted them before the season started. I think you did too, David, on one of the shows. But I think we missed the boat. I think we could have got Xander Clark into the second or third choice. That's the only player that I think I would have brought in at them all. But I look across that league and see that there's obviously you get players on loan for like Wigan and Portsmouth, etc. They come in and play for Motherwell and they look good. Bring them into Celtic Park with that Celtic jersey on and they shrink, and that's what happens, you know. And there's no player, and I'm including Rangers here. There's no player that I would take into a Celtic team. And for me, you don't progress as a club by padding out squads. You pad out squads when you think you've got your best 11 structured, and you pad it out with guys that can come in and do a job, not a good job, because Celtic are in a financial situation where they can do like for like, unfortunately. But for me, padding out squad doesn't elevate Celtic to the level that we all think they should be at.
Aye, no, you're right now. And every so often,
Clark was on his way to Dundee United at one point. I think he was up for a contract, and I think he tried to hold out for a better offer from somewhere else and ended up without a club until he got the the gig at Hearts, and it's obviously worked out in his favour, unfortunately, due to horrendous reasons. But that's football, I suppose. Xander Clark was always he was a player that always seemed to turn it up against us, always pull off some great saves that kind of got your eye on him. But I think I always felt that Siegrist was the player that, I wouldn't mind him in the Celtic squad. I never seen him as a number one, but I was like, he'd be a really good backup goalkeeper, which is maybe I'm doing him a disservice, but he was the only real player that I was kind of scouting to be a player that Celtic could be looking at in the league. But it was the only one that really stood out for me.
It's every so often a half decent talent will come along in one of the smaller SPL teams. But who was the last one that we signed that was halfway decent? Probably Stuart Armstrong, maybe under Ronnie. Have we signed anybody since then who went on and had a bit of an impact? Because remember, Armstrong started really well under Ronnie. Then that second Ronnie season, he was terrible, as was Mackay Stephen. It was under Brendan.
Greg Taylor, mate. I think Greg Taylor's
coming up. Aye. Greg Taylor's getting to a good level now. And again, a slow start. Same with Scott Brown. People forget the longevity Scott Brown had. The first few seasons, Scott Brown was lost.
He was gone under Rodgers. One of Rodgers' first things, according to his book, etc., which might go down as fiction in the library. But according to his book, one of the first things he did was get Brown down to London or wherever it was he was staying and have a meal with the guy and talk about his future at Celtic. And we all said that Scott Brown, being the new captain, Scott Brown has to go, has to be a fresh start for Rodgers. And Scott Brown played his best football for 3 years under Rodgers. Callum McGregor, even last season, we were saying, do you know what, we need a new captain, Callum McGregor doesn't fit the bill. And Ange turned him into a captain. So we'll have players that have come in and slowly progressed. Yeah. Greg Taylor's probably the obvious one because it's recent. But I wouldn't say Turnbull's been a disaster. I think Ange.
Turnbull's name's come up in the chat, so is Ryan Christie. But again, the
his position, Christie, I'm sorry, no. I think Ryan Christie, I mean, he plays in Bournemouth, I think it is, and their stadium is about 15 feet tall, and they must use to lose footballs week after fucking week. That guy, see if you hit 100 shots, 2 is going to go in. And he scored every so often, and 2 were belters, you know what I mean? He scored some belters, but overrated, God, that guy just summed that word up, and I couldn't wait for him to go. In fact, see, when he left Celtic, I must admit, honestly, I'm not just saying this, I thought, thank God I don't need to look at that team sheet and see that guy's name anymore. I used to, the guy, I can just vision him saying in a press report soon, I'd like to give Celtic my last couple of years. I'd laugh. I'm just waiting for it as if he's going to come back and pay us a favour, but I'd be fucking busted laughing if I saw a guy like that speaking.
I saw somebody on Twitter the other day posting like a video saying just reliving some of COVID ball under Lenny in the 10 in a row season. It was a Ryan Christie shot against Ross County. I think it was that League Cup game where we get knocked out at Celtic Park.
He struggles to get a game at Bournemouth. He struggles to get in that starting 11.
That season is terrible, David. I think the government should actually be 2 years younger. The government should do us all a favour and say, listen, see anybody that was living through COVID, just forget about the years. They don't add to your age. So you're 32, you're staying 32. I mean, but I also think they should just erase all the tapes of that season. I mean, see even the Celtic strips and tracksuits for that year, I will not wear them ever again. I wouldn't even wear one that would take the bins out. They just get so many bad memories. Just looking at them. I seen a goal compilation. I think it was for Edouard the other day. It must have been his birthday. Somebody must have sat in the remote and made a fucking video of his best bits. And it was I just seen that yellow pipe in the line. I just went like, I'm not watching that. I just can't bring myself to watch that. I'd rather sit in a bed and share a bed with Freddy Krueger and watch that shit. I really would.
What upset me the most was the fact that we'd all been waiting on an Adidas kit to finally come out, and I was like, I'm buying that one. Got to buy that one. That's the 10 in a row season. I've got to buy that one. And I'm like, not even looked at it since. I'm like, oh.
Mate, I'm looking you on. I bought every tracksuit, every tap, shorts. I even buy soaks for that. I'm a pure clown, right? And I swear to God, I will even look at it. I mean, I open my drawer and it's like all my Celtic taps. I think I showed you a full before all my Celtic taps.
I have.
Do an apple, Mark. Do an apple, see if you can punt it all on Twitter.
I want to, David, do you know something? I'm actually a mug that I want to give them away. I'd rather just sit and look at them and be angry at them. I'd rather just sit and stare at them and just...
Damn you, Ryan Christie!
And do you know, I tell you something. I was funny enough, I was at a Celtic shop 2 weeks ago, just before I went away, and I just happened to talk to this guy who was serving. I said, Adidas strips. I said, the sizes are terrible. I mean, they're dead long. I need to wear an extra small on them, whereas when New Balance small just fitted me perfect. And he's like, I've had a lot of issues about that, but I'm fine with it. I've been, see, even the Adidas tracksuits, they look cracking, right? I've got a good few in there, but almost them all to a man. It's got a stick-on badge. You know what I mean? And it look dead. See, you see them on Taylor, you see them in a magazine, they look nice, but see you buy one and you feel them and you do that kind of field test, they're cheap and nasty looking. It's like when you buy Adidas trainers, I mean, they're £70 for a reason. They're cheap, they're nasty. And I mean, the most iconic strips in Celtic's history are Umbro. You look at every iconic strip in Celtic's history, it's been the Tasman Lions, it's been the black and green for the 70s, it's been the Bumblebee for the 90s, it's been the Centenary strip, it's been the black and gold, black magic, the NTL, the white stripes, the Larson strip as I call it. They're all Umbro. Umbro, one of the most fashionable football kit makers, but they made good kits. I thought New Balance, the pink strip aside, I mean that white one with the cross on it, really good.
About all these strips, Mark.
Is that?
Yeah.
Well, listen, there is a good book available in the Celtic shop about the history of.
All right.
I wouldn't recommend it, mate, because
Google it.
I just want to recommend it.
Google images will show you them all.
No, but listen.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I can tell you something. I would probably say, and I'm quite an old-fashioned person in general, but I'd probably say all your best. I'm talking about the actual best Celtic strips are pre this century. See, look at the 90s. Even, I mean, some of the strips that we laughed at in the early 90s, Paul, you remember some of them, right? They were rocking. Some of you, David, they were rotten, but see, time's been good to them. I mean, some of them are really fucking nice, well-designed kits, and the tracksuits were phenomenal.
Do you know one that I feel's in that category, Mark? The away kit from the year they had People's Ford as a sponsor, and it's like, it looks like the stock market. Where it goes up and down. It felt like a mockery of Celtic because our finance was so bad. It looks like the stock market, right? Now, the first time I saw that kit years ago, and over time I've always thought that's absolutely bogging, that kit, but it feels like it's now got a cult status, and I see it everywhere now. In terms of you go to the game, there'll be people with retro tops on. That's a really popular one now, and I'm like, I don't know, man. And to me, do
you remember the? There's a few good goalie kits, but can you remember the 1995 goalkeeper kit with it? Packy Bonner, big collar, but it like kind of black and it's swoosh on it. And at the time, it looked terrific. But see if I was available to buy it, I'd buy that in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? I really would. And you remember that one that was really slack? Do you remember? I've got it in there as well. The kind of, I always think of players that I see like maybe Willie Faulkner, like the white one with the yellow kind of triangle here, and then it's got a green.
Yes,
I've got that one. And at the time, I think it lasted. I think Celtic used to always change their. I think we used to get 2 years out of home kit and one out the away. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll go back then. Oh yeah, 2 years.
I think Celtic changed that one dead quick because it was Celtic fans weren't happy with it at all. But I mean, some of the kits were brilliant. I'd like to ask some of the viewers actually. Well, we're putting this out there. I mean, if it was a kit for your past that you'd like to bring back for next season, the alterations. Just if you bring back a kit for next season, what one would it be? It can be home, away, or third choice, anyone. What do you think, guys? What's your two choices?
I love the one just with the wee Tennent's badge underneath the Celtic.
That's the one. That's the best Nike one, without a shadow of doubt. In the Nike era, that's the best Nike one.
I really like that one.
The away kit that year was good, I know.
Oh, beautiful.
Was that the black one? Was that the black one? With the really,
it had the tricolour under the sleeve.
I had the Gary Hooper on the back of that one, I think.
I love the kit that. See that kit? I gave that a kit away. It was. Do you remember the Carling exchange, man? Do you remember that? There's a Carling kit exchange. I just happened to be scrolling through Twitter and I seen like Carling put a wee kind of tweet saying, "Watch out for like the Brazen Head tomorrow, Celtic fans." And I went, "They're doing a kit exchange." So I brought like 4 kits at my house. But the tweet said that morning that I had to be less than 2 years old. So I brought in like this season's kit, home kit. Sorry, the away kits. I brought all the good strips because they were giving away the brand new New Balance home kit. So I got 4 kits for nothing. I gave away that black strip The black one, it was a belter. I mean, I don't know why I gave that away. I gave away that home kit. As you mentioned there with the tea. But I don't know why. You could probably get, I'm a size small, you probably get £100 on that. I mean, pristine condition nowadays. But not that I would sell it, but is anybody bringing kits up?
Let's see. We've got let's see, 1988 Centenary. Well, I know they've done the remake of that one. I've got it in my cupboard. The 88 Centenary one. Black Sea. So let's see what else we've got here. That's a good one. In fact, didn't we do wasn't the 2016 away kit modelled on that one, the green with the white pinstripes? Because Charlie Nicholas scores a goal. That one, I think it's modelled. There's a lot of kits that do come out of model, like the away kit this year's modelled on the mid-90s away kit and stuff like that. There's a Bumblebee one. That would always be my choice. I love the Bumblebee kit. It's just so eccentric, you know. Scott, obviously the People's kit's shocking. I mean, it does, the People's badge is in red, white and blue and it's on the front of a Celtic kit. That's a huge no-no right away, so much so that the next season, when they were still sponsored by People's Ford, they had to be sponsorless on the front of the shirt because it was such a bad seller. Because who thought that was a good idea?
I know.
Terry Cassidy did. I think Terry Cassidy they could have the option to have that. People's changed a bit and they refused to do it. I mean, there's a few anomalies. Do you remember the crack one, Stephen? Do you remember the story? I think it was like 2 years ago, like West Ham of all teams, where their kits are manufactured is in France somewhere, and it's manufactured. And we all know West Ham's history, but it's manufactured in Bobby Sands Street. There's a street in France called Bobby Sands.
Bobby Sands Street.
And every single West Ham kit, it says made in Bobby Sands Street. You couldn't write that, could you know?
No, for a team like that and a lot of their fan beliefs, then that one may not go down too well with a few of them. But yeah, I think I'd seen that somewhere before. It was like a picture, like the street name, and it's like, Bobby Sands. Jesus Christ. There was a point I was going to bring up here from Monty.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah, the panel. Thanks for calling as a panel. Thanks for that, Monty. They'll think that having quality Scottish players should be heavily represented in any Celtic side. Are we happy? Go to the Korean League for bargains. Now, there's a few points to this one. First of all, we've got to, and I've seen people debating this in the comments, and again, I don't know all the exact rules around it, but we need to be conscious of this. UEFA have obviously got their rules and regulations about homegrown players. Many people believe that's why James McCarthy hasn't been let go yet, because he counts as a homegrown player. And a reason why James Forrest gets such a nice contract extension, because again, he ticks a box. I don't know how many it is you need to have every season. So there's that to be aware of. It also brings up the point as well that every Celtic fan loves to see a lad come through the youth, a young Scottish player, and do well at Celtic, especially if they're a Celtic fan. But as we've said before on the show, our youth team are kind of stifled right now in a system that doesn't really benefit them. They're not getting better. Is there really anybody in there? Rocco Vata's showing a bit of promise, but how many chances is he going to get? We're starting to see that maybe we missed the boat with Ben Doak with that one, but if we could have gave him more chances, he now seems to be
he's
getting a bit of he's getting a bit of momentum now at Liverpool, so we can see in that one.
He got half an hour the other night.
Yeah, he did.
6 games, David. That's what I read.
And of course, the thing is as well with you don't want to do what they do in England, where they'll just sign a player just to tick a box. You know, in England, you've got like Man City signing 40-year-old English goalkeepers just because it ticks a box. It's like you don't want to just pad out the squad, like Mark was saying. And it goes back to that point again. There isn't really anybody in the Scottish Premier League
that's what you said. You're quality Scottish players, so not necessarily just Scottish league-based players, but any real quality Scottish players are all playing down in the Premier League or Championship, and maybe out of our price. You know, John McGinn getting touted for bloody 30, 40, 50 million these days.
He's gone.
Scott McTominay is apparently itching for a move away from Man United. I don't know if anyone would be interested in signing him.
Nah.
Again, you're still looking
at Ron McDonald.
You're probably still looking at 20 million for someone just because he's a Man United player. Other big top Scottish based players that are playing in the Premier League, Tierney, we're not getting him back anytime soon. But you're looking maybe at Championship level Scottish players, like, and then even then you're looking at, off the top of my head, that boy that plays for Stoke, is it Brown? I don't know what the Championship sort of price.
Barry Bannon is still going to end up with us. He'll be there when James McCarthy lets let go. We'll bring Barry Bannon in or something as a late signing in the window just to tick a box. He's
point I'm making is the top Scottish top Scottish quality players are maybe just out of our price range now. They were looking at guys like Kevin Nisbet and you know, well, who's that boy that went out to Canada? Gold. It was at Hibs and Dundee
Ryan
United.
Gold, he's playing for Vancouver
He's like
nowadays,
you're looking at $6 million apparently for these sort of things. Which when you go, what really? Do you want to pay that kind of money for Gold that couldn't really hack it at Hibs a couple of years ago?
Aye. Lewis Morgan when he's doing well.
It doesn't matter if they're. It shouldn't matter if they fucking Jupiter or Mars. See if they're good enough, they're good enough. You know what I mean? I think that's a Rangers thing where you've got to have enough Scottish boys to show people what it's like or what it matters to be there. It doesn't matter at Celtic. See, as long as they're good enough to play for Celtic, I have a nucleus of guys who get what Celtic's all about. But see after 3 or 4 games, you know the expectations of that club. See after a few matches, even a few training sessions, you know the level of the players that are playing about you. It shouldn't matter to you where they come from. I think the homegrown players, I think that's 4. We look at Ralston, Bain, Carl McGregor, Welsh, fucking McCarthy, as you say. We exceed that. We're going to be bringing that youth player who signed a new contract Tuesday night or Wednesday night. Ange's already said that he's going to be getting upgraded to the first team for the next couple of months. I can't remember the boy's name. I think he's a captain for the B team.
Oh, I've seen it on Twitter getting posted.
It's an Scottish player. So you could see McGregor, McCarthy and Welsh getting put at the door. I'd imagine they'll be in the first train to Yuma in a minute now. So, I know what you're saying, Monty, mate, and I get that what you're trying to say is with Celtic, they'd be better off, having a nucleus of Scottish players because it kind of improves quality and improves that kind of a Celtic standard within the players and a tradition. But we're past all that, mate. We don't progress as a club by being by being traditionalists. You know what I mean? And that, as much as I love tradition, as I say all the time, that was part of the Celtic boards of the 80s problem where they didn't want to move away from tradition and didn't want to sign sponsorship deals that would go against the values of the club, and they fell behind. And it's the same on the park. If you're going to progress as a club, sometimes you've got to put to the side. I don't know one team, maybe teams like Barcelona, like the kind of Basque country, teams like that who feel like they're outsiders. Maybe they've got a kind of group of players that know what it needs to play for them. But see teams like Liverpool, teams like Man U, Chelsea, Champions League winners, they don't need. They're not sitting in podcasts or sitting in pubs saying we need more boys for
England. We need more English players
to Manchester. They sign the best players, or they sign the players that they can possibly get for their positions.
Yeah.
Look at Wolves, riddled with Portuguese.
Who?
Wolves, it's just the whole
Portuguese players.
Well, I would rather 10 Brazilians if I could get them. You know what I mean? It wouldn't bother me. I would change my name. I'd be speaking Portuguese tomorrow if I could do it.
10 Croatians.
10 Croatian internationals.
Got one.
No, listen. I told you before, listen. I don't want to see any COVID 2021 videos. I don't want to see another Croatian near the fucking Celtic team ever again. If I hear that word Croatian right back ever again, I'm going to go for a long walk.
Croatian left back now.
Oh, I will.
And
he's doing a fantastic job at that, I must say.
Just we are talking about traditions there. On a side note, just a hilarious tweet I saw the other day from some staunch Rangers da talking about how he's unimpressed with that Cantwell, how scruffy he is. He says the club should introduce a standardised haircut policy, and I was like, do you know who's got a standardised haircut policy? North Korea. They've got a standardised haircut policy, so there you go. That would be a perfect fit.
David, did you see the true origins of the decision to wear suits and shoes? They came to the surface the other day. The Rangers released a suit in Brogues range in a superstore the other day there. And call me a cynic, but that kind of coincided with the Rangers bringing suits back into the first team. Michael Boo's been told to say that in the media. Kid on, you're staunch. I'll buy into the gallery. They all love it. Say we are the people. And I tell you what, we'll sell about £299 a head. And see every wedding with a guy called Billy and Willie, they're all going to be wearing these suits. You know what I mean? Every funeral for fucking anybody that's middle name's Gaza, they'll all be wearing them, mate. And but see, listen, we've got one of support just full of gullible cunts. Let them do it.
Nah, just let them leave them to buy. I did laugh at those standardised haircut. I was like, oh, right, okay. North Korea FC. We'll move on though. Gucci Truffers, a bit similar to what we're talking about the youth team and stuff like that. He wants a strong academy more than to be raiding domestic rivals for Scottish players. I think we all would, because I feel like we haven't had a real great crop in a long time. I've said enough times about my feelings on how the B team is stifled right now. But who was the last great youth? Tierney? Is that probably the last one that came through? But even at that, he was the only one. When you go back to the Strachan era, there was a few that seemed to get a chance together that all came through at the same time. But
I'm being unfair, mate. I think if you look at since 2010 to the new, I think there's 4 players that have been absolutely key to that. Callum McGregor, James Forrest, Kieran Tierney, all came through the Celtic Academy. Mm-hmm. Scott Brown was homegrown. So they took him on at a very young age, developed him. I think that our youth policy is failing, David. I don't see many players of the future. Rocco Vata might come through. This player that we're talking about just now, that's the captain. I don't know the boy's name, but I'd rather see Celtic properly invest £2-3 million on proper coaches, a smaller stadium for the B team to play in, and professionalise that than see spend £3 million on Nisbet who's going to sit and be happy to get 10 grand a week for 4 years.
Right. There's an argument to be had that the youth team are producing quality players. The problem is we're not giving them a pathway to get into the first team that's enticing them to stay. The guys that have headed off to Bayern Munich and Liverpool and all these players, it's they're obviously top quality players. If the Bayern Munich scouts are spotting this and the Liverpool scouts are spotting this, and then they're managing to get into the boys' years and say, look, you're going to get a better pathway into the first team of a Premier League side like Liverpool than you are getting into Ange's Celtic side. Then that's where we're failing them. Obviously, we could always do with better coaches, but I feel like there's got to be a better transition from, and I don't believe playing in these, create a B side to go and play against hammer throwers and Sunday League or whatever. There's got to be a better way that makes the players go, there is a clear pathway for me to get into the side. We've seen the likes of Kieran Tierney, the Callum McGregors, the Anthony Ralstons, the James Forrest. There was a way. So why are we not getting that now? Why is it suddenly being halted? And why are Bayern Munich and Liverpool and even Leeds coming in like vultures and taking our top talent away before we've even managed to see what the Celtic has put in over the years to get them to the level that a Bayern Munich or a Leeds or a Liverpool
It's because of us, David. It's because of us. There's nothing a Celtic fan loves more than to see why they're in on the park. But equally, there's nothing they love more than to criticise the boy if he falls his arse and makes a bad pass. We all know I'm the biggest fan of Anthony Ralston. Anthony Ralston was branded a dud at Celtic Park at the age of 19 because they gave away a goal against the St Johnstone, I think it was. I still blame Craig Gordon for. That boy was branded a dud after 13, 14 appearances at 19-year-old. The Celtic fans are the reason why Celtic have to buy abroad or buy at least more palatable players and better optics, for the fans. I mean, would a Ben Doak be in the Celtic first team now? No. But he's at Liverpool's first team. And you made a good point there, David, but I think that the pathway does stop, but I think the Celtic fans are used to success. And do Celtic fans allow 10 games of mediocrity or substandard performances to get to the level?
There from Stubbs' horse. Celtic can't afford to lose games to develop kids. The pressure to win is too much.
And if you're a manager, what would you? See if you're a manager, Phil, and it's still, I mean, let's go back 12 months if we can, or even maybe even 15 months now. Ange won at Pittodrie. His record before that was 3 wins, 3 defeats, right?
That's right, yep.
That was a must-win game for Ange Postecoglou. Football, we got a goal in the 83rd minute, I think it was. Football turns like that. Your jacket is on a sugary nail for the very first game at Celtic. If you don't start off well, it gets shakier and shakier.
Is there room to have at least one on the bench though for the chance that we go 4-0 up after 60 minutes? right, go on
But
and
no,
express
David,
yourself.
no, because this is what I was saying to you. I think I was talking to you the other day. That we're not a charity. See if there's a better player who's Russian, Japanese.
If it says a player that's shown quality enough to get into the, I'm not saying get him on as a charity, but I say he's good enough. Like a Bento,
Yeah.
clearly good enough player. Like if Klopp thinks he's good enough to play in the Premier League,
No, of course, aye.
he's good enough to be on the bench at Celtic. But what I'm saying is, we're comfortably hammering Dundee United away from home 9-0, and we've still got 20 minutes of game time to play. I'm sure we can afford to go, right, Ben, go out there and express yourself. Show us what you can do. There's no pressure on him. And then gradually just bleed that. Well, you really impressed you, right? I'm going to give you 20 minutes this time or 30 minutes this time against we're beating St Mirren 3-0 at home. You know, that's obviously don't put on a boy that's not good enough. Just because.
Remember, Gordon Strachan was moaning about that. Remember that when Gordon Strachan was a manager, you have to have 3 Scottish players on the bench. Remember, it was part of the rules. You had to have 3 Scottish players on the bench, and he said, "I was leaving out guys we spent a lot of money on, and they became disillusioned because I was telling them, a 19-year-old's on the bench because that's fitting." Now I get your side, David. Just saying it, mate. No, as a some sort of structure.
Not a rule.
If they're good enough, put them on the bench. I agree. See, if you're 3-0 up, it's even at half time, and you're up 3 goals. We could afford to take off our captain. We could afford to take off anybody really and still win the match. I agree with you, but I don't know why it doesn't happen because I've seen Saturday coming now. Jackie Marcus is fit. I'm not sure, but I want to see Rocco Vata there. I've
seen a comment saying about Rocco Vata maybe be involved in Saturday. You know,
the Scottish B team's got the Scottish B Lowland League's got a clause now where if you play any more than 8 games for the Celtic first team, you can't play in the B squad anymore. So it's to stop Celtic sending down fucking Carter Vickers to go and play in but you understand when you look at it, you understand why they're doing it, right? But it's like you're stopping that player's progress. I wouldn't see that boy could play on a Wednesday night against maybe Rangers in the B team and catch Ange's eye, but be on the threshold not being able to play for the B team anymore because he's come on a few cup games. He's played a couple of games as a sub. It's a daft rule, but I think just now, I don't think Ange is impressed with the full setup just now. I think Ange likes the first team. Underneath that, I think he thinks, Lawal, I watched him pre-season, that guy's as raw as they come, but there's probably players there's always players that are on the edge, but it's more so they've got to show the youth system's at least active. I mean, how many times have you saw guys like Paul Slane come on in a tour in America or just uttered guff, you know what I mean? Against Celtic in these friendly matches. But it just doesn't happen. I think Celtic managers are really, really conscious of the fact that you're only 3 games away from a crisis. And I agree with David, if you're 5-0 up, mate, bring on me for 10 minutes. Come on, I can't lose the game. But do you know something? I don't think, as long as I've been alive, including Tommy Burns, Martin Neal, definitely not. There's not been one Celtic setup that has let you flourish. There's no been one. In my full lifetime, that I can remember, even year back to, Paul McStay and there was a couple of players that came through the youth system at that time. But the linchpins of that team going forward were guys like Frank McAvenny, who was bought. I'm sure Frank McGarvey was bought. Who else? John Collins was bought in. Josh McKinley was bought in. Even guys that were playing in bad teams, the better players, they were all bought in, you know.
Well, Mark, I think I saw somebody in the comments, I think Brown Warrior made a point of put up a list of some of the decent talents that came through, and then I think Patrick McLaughlin replied saying that works out on average one every 5 years.
I see that. Good comment.
But going back to David's point about the substitute thing, we're now in the post-COVID world where we went from having 7 substitutes on the bench and only allowed to bring 3 on to now 9 on the bench, and 5 are allowed to come on. So you would like to think that surely one of those positions, you can get a Rocco Vata in there, and what David said, you know, we're 5-0 up against a team, throw him on and see how he does. But even at that, you know, you see the bench get named every week, and you know, it's very rare that somebody from the beat. I mean, Boston Labwell was on the bench in one of the games recently at Celtic Park. But again, it's a very rare occurrence for it to happen. But you think in a position now where we've got 9 substitutes, that's nearly a full team that you can name on the bench, and bring on 5 of them, and you surely there must be a spot for one. But it feels like every week it's like a very, very rare occurrence to see it happen. So it's a weird one in terms of trying to sort the whole youth setup out. But again, with Scottish football, there's a lot of problems even below Celtic's youth team. Grassroots in Scottish football is just awful, and it's been years and years. It always gets talked about, the SFA coming up with ideas of how they're going to improve it and this, and it never ever comes to anything. You've just got to look at the debacle with the National Stadium. You know, England got Wembley demolished and rebuilt from scratch. Wales got a whole new stadium with the Millennium Stadium. You know, Republic of Ireland. But say, look at Scotland. Hampden got a new stand. Go back and watch the 95 Cup final with Celtic beat Airdrie. Big Pierce goes. 3 of the stands at Hampden look exactly the same as they did in 1995.
Except the plush one. Except the main stand where all the posh cunts sit.
But that's the only stand they renovated. That's Scottish football for you.
You probably missed it last night, but I had my headphones in walking to the match, and there was a new rule brought in. I think it's next month for starting with the IFAB. They're talking about. And on the radio, so anybody that missed it, they're talking about the refs are going to be mic'd up as of next month in the FIFA World Club Championships, I think it is, and so they're going to be able to announce to the support in the stadium, offside number 9. You know, the exact same way as NFL does. You know, what I mean? Totally explaining. I mean, football, as we know, is a sport for spectators on TV, but you got to appreciate the guys who are keeping the sport alive and paying for their season tickets and the rest of it. So you've got to give them a product as well. And this gives them that, you know, I mean, this gives them a clear idea. I mean, sometimes you're getting home before you find out why a goal was chopped off, why somebody get a red card. You just do not know, you know what I mean? So I was listening to the radio last night and on the panel, and they were so negative about it. How can you have a man sitting in front of 60,000 people explaining his decisions? Well, for the last 40 years in NFL, in front of 100,000 fans, 110 million viewers on TV, this guy's sitting explaining their decisions. We've just got to naysay everything. We're so negative about it. Instead of being progressive, moving with the times, embracing change, Scotland's got to be, you try it first and we'll catch up with you eventually. Look at VAR last night, right? 6 cameras, even the replays you were getting, not one was an accurate camera angle. You just saw the lines that looked like that on your TV screen. You don't know what's happening. There's no replays in the stadium for the fans that are there. It's just an absolute ridiculous. Well, it's badly implemented in Scotland, but anything that's progressive in Scotland, as you said there, grassroots. See down about a mile down my road, there's a football pitch. It's padlocked. You have to be in school time to use it. There's excellent 7 and 11-a-side pitches about 2 miles from me. I'm talking about really good standards, like amateur level standards. They're padlocked. You need to pay for them. I mean, I know it's going to a tangent here, but you've got kids who would rather sit in their fat arses playing computer games than go out and play football. That's hard. I mean, as a parent, that's hard to get them out of that habit. But see, how can you get somebody to go out? Football does have to be organised. Organised football happens when you're a bit older. Doesn't the kids just get up with a ball now and I'll see you later on at the start? That doesn't happen. So I don't blame them for sitting their asses, but how can grassroots become a thing in Scotland when parents are struggling to put the heating on this now, but they're having to pay for their kids to play football? It should be free. I mean, they're already closing community centres left, right and centre. I mean, so how can these people go out there and play football when they're padlocking football pitches for Waynes? It just doesn't add up, mate. And this isn't an SFA problem. This is a government problem. This is a health problem. You know, because all goes into the one system. England are good at that. England look at the big picture. You look at the money they put into cricket, the money they put into rugby. I know England's a bigger country and they get they've got a lot of money after that Camelot lottery funding. They dish it for like £300-400 million a year to all the National League teams, and they all get split up. They've all got wee stadiums and that paid for by the lottery funds. Scotland don't get much of that. I know that, right? But see, the SFA are a money-making operation. They shouldn't be a money-making. They should be a break-even operation. They should have structures in place where every team should be safeguarded against the worst-case scenario. Allow them to invest in youth.
Yep.
But there's even their PFA system is a fucking mess. They just don't let the get football players. It's just they're
afraid of change, Mark.
They don't like change, and no one afraid of change. They're afraid to implement change. When change happens, they're always reluctant to even take their own version of it. Like, they'll even say, right, what works for us is this. We'll do our inside it. So that not only they're scared of change, they're scared of even having their own version of change. They want everybody to be sitting as is forever, never.
Yep.
And they want all the national teams that the messes in.
Yeah, no, that was an impromptu Judge. I was going to ask you got a Judge Kearney segment for tonight's Judge, but you've just done it there. So
no, sorry guys.
No, that's good. That's fine. That's what we do on a Thursday night. We always bring in the Judge to give us his, what's got a wee bee in his bonnet this week, and that was an impromptu one. But there you go. You're right in everything you've said there. When just a hilarious example of just how afraid they are of change. Remember 2014 World Cup in Brazil, the referees had this new revolutionary thing, and it was the spray to mark out the 10 yards for the free kicks. And right away, as soon as that World Cup was over, Germany, England, France, all the big leagues in Europe, the referees were armed with it. No problem. Get that in. That's a great idea. I think it was about a year later before Scotland introduced it, and it's like, why are we so far behind on something like that? So this thing about, referees maybe explaining their decisions, probably after this Club World Cup thing, but it's a success, you'll see all the big leagues will have it in within 6 months, probably the start of next season.
Mm-hmm.
But us, oh no,
5 years.
We won't even go near it. Oh no, you say people saying, oh no, we can't do that. So yeah, they'll steer clear of it. They don't like change, and that's why Scotland's getting held so far back. But yeah, guys, I just those for over an hour now, hour and 10 minutes, and we will look to wrap it up there. But it has been a fun one tonight. We've got a lot of comments obviously brought up and got really stuck into what the viewers want to talk about. And yeah, it's been we've covered a lot of ground there tonight. So yeah, we will wrap up the show for the evening. So David, enjoyed your wee venture tonight on the T.N.F. You gremlin free tonight, mate. Despite Mark winding you up at the start saying you were on mute,
Oh, no,
the gremlin stayed away, mate.
Mark, I was flapping.
No chance, a man of your standards.
Always good fun to be on the T.N.F. That's
good.
Nothing better for it on a Thursday night, eh?
Yeah, indeed. And Mark, fun again on the old T.N.F.
Brilliant show, mate. Always good getting to catch up with David. I'm gonna be back on Sunday with him. He takes control. We get the newspapers out and gives us something to talk about. Look forward to that one.
Sunday,
we'll scrutinise what's ever written in the papers this week. Maybe we'll...
I think tomorrow morning as well, guys. I think 8 a.m. In the morning, they're going to put out the Judgment Day
episode
number 2. So that goes out tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. I think Boise said.
Good
you probably
stuff.
See that in your notifications. I don't know sure, but don't forget to share it if you can.
Indeed.
That, my man. Looking forward to it.
And tomorrow night, the nostalgia bus will be revving its engines and we'll be heading back to 1998-99 season. It is a Dr. Joseph Engloss's season. Yes, okay, Celtic didn't win anything that year. But I did say at the start, I will cover years where it didn't quite go according to plan, and we'll talk about what went wrong and so forth. So I've wrote out all the stuff for it that we're going to go over, and I'm quite interesting. It's got a lot to talk about there, a lot of interesting angles and stories and so forth. I'm particularly looking forward to talking about one Mark Viduka, who turned up and then decided to disappear 4 days later. And when he came back, he was no longer Marco Viduka. He wanted to be called Mark Viduka, as if that made a massive difference. I'm looking forward to talking about that, but that's the type of things we'll be going over tomorrow night. Obviously, Joseph Engloss, his legacy at the club, say he actually had one of the worst starts in history. Got it together for the second half of the season, but ultimately it ended in failure. But he stayed on as a scout and actually was responsible for signing a player who'd be very, very pivotal under the Mark Neal era. But we'll get into that tomorrow night. Me, Russell, and Liam will be on for that tomorrow, 9 o'clock at the usual time. And then Saturday, it's an early one. It's an early game for Celtic. They kick off at 12:15 against Greenock Morton at Celtic Park. because it's on BBC Scotland. But yeah, PMP will be on. I don't know what time PMP will be on. Russell will announce that at some point. And then say Sunday Blairers, the boys have mentioned, we'll be back for that as well. So it's been a fun one. We are heading off for the night, and everyone enjoy the rest of your day, your night, and whatever you get up to tomorrow. And hopefully, when we do the Sunday Blairer on Sunday, we talk about another Celtic victory as we head into the next round of the Scottish Cup. So we'll catch you later. And here is Chris Sutton to see us off.
Thanks, guys.
I mean, you've all that stuff at the start. You know, they won't be playing Tina Turner on the coach on the way home, will they?
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan. He's a Rangers puppet. He's a cheerleader. That's what he is.